advanced. But a kidney injury to Karch opened up the field. Adam Johnson and Randy Stoklos, the new dream team, took Manhattan. Tour veterans Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh won one of the best matches of the year, beating Karai and Steffes at Seal Beach. Karch soon rejoined Kent to win the final 4 tournaments. But 1995 is a new year, and there are more challenges to the champions. The boys of Brazil, Anjinho and Loiola, elevated their game last season and started off the winter season by shocking Johnson and Stoklos in Washington for their first ever indoor title. Johnson and Stoklos then came back the next week to beat Karch and Kent in Boston. Karch and Kent gained their first win of the season by beating Dodd and Whitmarsh at the Target Center in Minneapolis. Today, it's the final stop of the winter tour. It's the Evian Indoor at Madison Square Garden in New York City. We're at a Manhattan beach without a pier. It's the Evian Pro Beach Volleyball Championships from Madison Square Garden in New York City. Hi, everybody. Mike Crispino with Kirk Kilgore. All that is missing is the salt water, of course, and the California sun. But 8 teams are here for the biggest, one of the biggest single-day payoffs in pro beach volleyball history, $30,000.
Well, Mike, it's a huge payoff, but it's growing year to year. The last 2 years, the match was only here at Madison Square Garden. Now we play 4 tournaments on the East Coast, leading to the championship, $30,000. That's a lot of bread.
That is, and Karch, Karai, and Ken Steffes are the 2-time defending champions. You figure if you have to get through to the final, you've got to go through them.
Well, they won 17 tournaments together last year. They are the prohibitive favorite to win this tournament, to win the series, but it didn't work like that. They lost the first 2 tournaments, probably the first time they've lost 2 tournaments in a row in the history.
Now our first semifinal of the day will feature Adam Johnson and Randy Stoklos, 2 of the better players in the world. They'll be taking on Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh.
Last year they called them Dream Team 2. Here they are in game point number 2. A game pointing, it's Martin and Young. They go up, they steady it out, ball goes down, time runs out. A relatively easy win for Adam Johnson and Randy Stoklos. They're the pretty boys on the tour now. They love to play this game.
And their opponents in the semifinal will be Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh, who did not have an easy time in their quarterfinal.
Pro Halfman Rabolovic played them very tough. They went to overtime, a 30-second overtime, sudden death, a contested play at the end. Hit by Frohoff off the block. Ref says no. Dodd and Whitworth advance.
Here's a look at Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh, 2 of the veterans of the tour. In the other semifinal, it is the young Brazilian team of Anjinho and his teammate Loiola as they go against the defending champions, Karch, Karai, and Ken Steffes.
Well, Anjinho and Loiola, they're big jumpers out of Brazil. Young players, they're extremely strong. Here's their game point. They're playing Hillier and Wirtz. They go up, they have it all the way. Relatively easy win, 15-2. Pretty much a wipeout. They get to the final easily. They are strong. They are young. Watch this team. They're exciting.
23 and 24 years old. Karch, Karai, and Ken Steffes. We mentioned 2-time defending champions. They've won just about everything. This is their look at the quarterfinal.
Well, they started out well. They're playing a good team, Bouillon and Hovland. Tim Hovland, the Hov, always tough, but not tough enough today. Karai, Steffes, the prohibitive favorites. They've won it all. They want to keep winning. They're ready.
How do you view this semifinal now with the defending champions as they try to get to the final?
Well, I really think it's a case of ball control. It always comes down to tough serving, passing, and block a few balls. They must serve and dig well.
Now, Stoklos and Adam Johnson were in the final last year against Karai and Steffes. Do you expect the same final?
I think so. I think Stoklos and Johnson are playing better than they were a year ago. Karai, Steffes, you always have to pick them.
All right, we'll be back with a look at our first semifinal after these words from Madison Square Garden. It's the Evian Indoor Pro Beach Volleyball Championships. It's It's the Evian Indoor AVP Pro Beach Volleyball Championship from Madison Square Garden in New York City. Mike Pritzvito, Kirk Kilgore with you. And look at the rules in today's games. 15 points deciding a game. 3 contacts on each side. You cannot touch the net. And what about this rally clock?
Well, the rally clock's there. The ball, when you touch the ball, starts the clock. Ball hits the sand, it stops the clock. 9 minutes total playing time.
Now to our TDI sand report. The temperature inside the building, a balming 82, just 33 degrees, 1 degree over freezing outside. 240 tons of sand imported for this.
A little bit of sand from the beaches nearby. Wet, but it is a lot of sand.
And of course, they have a couple of sand timeouts when they have too much of that on them. Because of time, we pick up this match in progress with Adam Johnson and Randy Stoklos leading at 10-5. I know you have some basketball players in the NBA you'd like to see play volleyball. These two, Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh, actually did go to the NBA. Whitmarsh, look at him in the white uniform, working against the Lakers as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we talked to him about his pro basketball experiences.
That's one of my favorite memories also. We played the Lakers the first game of the preseason in Minnesota, and there was 45,000 people at the game, I remember, and it was just, I walked on the court and I just, whew, this is amazing, standing out here in front of all the people, you know, playing against Magic Johnson and Worthy and all the greats for the Lakers, and that's something I choose to remember.
Now, I know you've seen Magic at work at the Forum. He saw him firsthand.
I would choose to remember that too, I think. Things not going so well right now for Dodd. Whitmarsh have to think about their basketball days a little bit here, I think.
Mike Whitmarsh out of the University of San Diego. That's Mike Dodd, San Diego State University. They're down 10-5 now. They must turn this match around quickly. Adam Johnson chasing way back behind the back line, but cannot chase it down.
I think you can get to the sand timeouts about after this.
There's a couple in each match, and he gets a hand from a somewhat raucous crowd here at Madison Square Garden who are happy to be inside when it's 33 degrees outside.
Well, he almost got to it. He didn't turn around quite soon enough. The ball went by him. Usually the blocker, the ball goes by, you turn a little bit late, couldn't quite run it down. Ooh, stretching his shoulder, hoping he didn't get hurt out there.
That's the kind of play that you could hyperextend a shoulder on.
Well, you could, but more than likely you just knock the breath out a little bit. You go, you know, you lay out completely, hit the runway a little hard sometimes.
Mike Dodd voted the AVP's best defensive player in 1994. Stoklos with a set. Adam Johnson, a little touch, and it's good.
The way you look at it, the two players on Johnson and Stoklos, you think the teams would be serving Johnson all the time, the smaller of the two, but that's not the case. Big arm swing, and plus Randy is a great setter. Stoklos has great hands.
They reached the finals last year at Madison Square Garden, only to lose to Karai and Steffes, who are in the other semifinal against the Brazilians, Anginho and Loiola.
Right now, Adam and Randy really having their way. They're going well. They're serving tough. They're digging the ball when it's hit by. Nice dig. Good set by Randy Stoklos up to Adam Johnson. Turns away from his body. Little tap down. Nice play. And a commanding lead. I thought this was going to be a lot closer this summer. Johnson
and Stoklos up 12-5. This is Johnson to serve. And Whitmarsh could not get to it as Mike Dodd. The set was too deep, too close to the net.
Well, bad pass. You can see it just takes off. There's no way Whitmarsh is going to run this down. Not that fleet of foot like Whitmarsh.
And even if he got to it, I don't know what he could have done with it. We have a full timeout from Madison Square Garden. We'll be back with more. Johnson and Stoklos closing in on a final berth. For the 5th year, Miller Brewing will acknowledge season-long excellence with a presentation of the Miller Lite Cup. Points are awarded each week to players based on their tournament finishes, with a $250,000 increase in the payout to $1 million. The Miller Lite Cup will push this season's total prize money on the Miller Lite AVP Tour to a record $4.5 million. As you look at the standings, point-wise, you'll find Karch Karai and Kent Steffes on top of the heap with 21 total points. Welcome back back to Madison Square Garden, the Evian Indoor Beach Volleyball Tour, the championship from Madison Square Garden. Johnson and Stoklos closing in, leading 13-5 over Mike Whitmarsh and Mike Dodd. This is a surprising result so far, as you mentioned.
Well, and really, Dodd and Whitmarsh match up well against this team. They have done well historically. Not today so far.
And it's getting very late. That time, Adam Johnson, the serve went long, and it's side out. There's a look at Mike Dodd. 14 years on the tour. That was a pretty shot.
Ball right on top of the net. Not much he can do. He just closes his hand, hits it off his knuckles into the corner. That knuckler in the corner.
There are a variety of shots that need to be played at certain points. Maybe he uses that only one time in a match, but it was good enough to earn him the side out there.
A very smart play when the ball's set real close.
Whitmarsh and Dodd, little magic in the net that time.
Had to play it. They're working awfully hard for side outs, though, Mike. Usually you want to do those kind of things for points. They're getting blocked. That's a change Johnson and Stoklos made. I was talking to him earlier, said now Adam is blocking, not just playing defense, so they're sharing responsibility. I think it will make them a stronger team.
High, Stoklos again.
Probably help Randy's career, too. He's getting along. He's not old by any means, 34. Been around a long time, played a lot of matches, been in a lot of finals. If he doesn't have to block every single play, it's going to extend his career.
Stoklos was the first to win $1 million. Adam Johnson, three-time All-American back in the mid-'80s. That time, Dodd.
Well, that's a game saver, as we call it. Ball's over. Adam Johnson has a good swing. Dodd, presence of mind. He goes up, doesn't try and reach over. He just soft blocks it into the corner. But that's a game saver right there.
It was almost like a blind guess. It looked like he was looking one way and then stuck his arms up the other way and angled it in beautifully. Johnson, he found the spot perfectly.
If you're a young player and want to know what to work on, don't always hit the ball straight down. Go to the deep corners. Nobody can play that corner. Great shot that time, as you see, by Adam Johnson right into the deep cross-court corner.
Two-man game, certainly not one for specialists. Got to do it all. And when you reach the level that these teams have, you must do it all. That time, Mike Dodd, nicely.
Dodd does not have a big arm swing. He doesn't hit the ball hard, what I mean by big arm swing. So when he gets blocked, a lot of times he gets played back up, as we saw then.
Coming off one of his most spectacular seasons, he earned more than $200,000 in prize money, won 3 events with Mike Whitmarsh last year. He went to 11 finals. Stoklos keeps it alive. Adam Johnson blocked it, but couldn't get it over the net. And still had something left at the end.
Well, the best rally of the game by far. Both teams making nice plays at the net. Here it is, Olofsky. Great diving save by Whitmarsh. Goes up. Johnson has it. He just loses the ball for that split second. Tries the chicken wing. No batter on that one.
Chicken wing. Very apt description from Kirk Kilgore as we look at Mike Dodd again. They earned a point finally. It seemed like it took a long time for them to get to 6.
Well, they're having to work awfully hard for that extra point. As I said, when you see a team struggling for side outs, they have a lot of trouble. And this is not a team that comes from behind real well. They don't serve that tough. The teams that come from behind have big jump serves. You can ace a couple times. Not the case with Dodd and Whitmarsh, so they're in some trouble.
Mike Dodd won 2 U.S. championships, 4 worlds with Tim Hovland.
Well, the great battles, Smith, Stoklos, Dodd, Hovland.
And that time, Whitmarsh. At the net.
He's up again. That's how they go fast. Whitmarsh with the stuff. We'll be back in the Garden after
this. Currently ranked 5th in the world, Randy Stoklos, a 3-time MVP, 16 years on the tour, 119 wins. What he'd want most right now is to get back to number 1.
When you've played the game as long as I have and been number 1 as long as I have, there's nothing else that you want. And I wouldn't be out here if I was just thinking about 5th places. What it is to come out here and win, to be the best as you can be, and to bring your partner up and make him play to his best of his ability.
John McEnroe was once in the same position when he couldn't get back to number 1 and knew it wouldn't happen. He left the game. Stoklos is hanging.
Agassi's sort of in that situation, a little younger maybe.
And he is reaching for number 1. He may make it very soon. 13-7, Adam Johnson, Randy Stoklos leading. A win here puts them in the finals of the Evian Indoor from Madison Square Garden. Mike Crispino and Kirk Kilgore with you. Johnson and Stoklos won 3 times in 1994. And the big one for Johnson, the king of the beach, winning that one, the first man other than Karch Kiraly to do it. Oh, a battle at the net. Stoklos wins it.
The joust. Ball up on top, both arms up. Sort of the joust Kong block up, both guys up there with the Kong. Watch this joust of the net. They get up, push, shove, let it go down. Whitmarsh.
Whitmarsh was a little off angle. I don't think he had enough strength from the angle he was at to handle it. Now for the match, Adam Johnson. Not this time.
Adam Johnson froze. He actually saw that all the way. And for some reason or other, he just froze in his tracks. Happens, you get locked in on a player. You watch his arm, and all of a sudden you lock in.
How difficult is it to change directions in sand? It must be.
Well, it's hard to change directions almost anywhere, but in the sand, it's certainly that much harder. The sand is soft. It's hard to move. You dig in, you keep sliding. It just doesn't, you don't stop like with cleats on, that's for sure.
Stoklos, his chance to end the match now with a 14-7 lead. Dodd and Whitmarsh will not go away.
Well, they've got to make a move right now. Minute left. It's still a lot of time. If you're a good serving team, Mike Dodd, not a great server by any means, moves the ball around well, has good control, but not a tough serve. With a minute left, they need a couple quick points. Look for Mike Whitmarsh to go after the block. Must block a ball.
Dodd, a prodigy at age 16, one of the best players on the beach. And that time, another side out.
Mike Dodd was the youngest player at AAA at 16. Was the first 16-year-old to become a AAA player. Still in high school. AAA was the highest rating, I think, even when he got his rating. They hadn't had the pro rating yet.
Adam Johnson tries to end it.
I was 17 when I got mine, so he took it away from me. 30 rat.
Yeah, records are made to be broken. You know that. Off the net, keeping it alive. Stoklos to Johnson. Perfectly played. Stoklos and Johnson have advanced to the finals.
Relatively easily. I'm surprised. I thought Dodd Whitmarsh would be a lot stronger. A good match for Stoklos and Johnson, playing very steady, playing defense when they had to, stuffing when they have to. They look good.
They fell behind about midway in the match and just could not recover. So Mike Dodd and Mike Whitmarsh will head to the sidelines. Adam Johnson, Randy Stoklos head to the finals. We'll be back with our second semifinal in just a moment from Madison Square Garden. Back at Madison Square Garden, our second semifinal here on Prime, the Evian Indoor Championships. And Gino and Loiola against Kiraly and Steffes. Here's how the two teams arrived at this semifinal. You look at the bracket, lower half. Heiser and Wirtz were the victims in the quarterfinals of Anginho and Loiola from Brazil, and Willian and Hovland went down to Kiraly and Steffes. Not much of a contest there either, 15-9.
No, going the way we expected. The seeds in where they should be. This next one should be a good one. Anginho and Loiola have beaten Kiraly and Steffes already this year once in Washington, D.C.
Karch Kiraly and Kent Steffes, the defending champions, have a 10-5 lead over the Brazilian team of Anginho and Loiola, who led the match early at 3-1.
Well, they've really done it with Karch Kiraly serving tough cross-court, and then Kent Steffes blocking Anginho very successfully. That's how they've gotten this lead, and it's up to Anginho right now to turn it up a notch.
The Brazilians have not been able to get any momentum going since very early in this match.
Well, again, you don't get a lot of momentum against Kiraly and Steffes. I can say it 100 times. They're the steadiest team. They're not going to beat themselves. You have to play a good match to beat them.
Which these two did in Washington against Kent Steffes and Kiraly. That was a real breakthrough victory for them. They've never done it before.
They've never done it before, but it doesn't mean a thing if you don't continue to play well against that team. It helps, certainly, but the next week, they didn't do so well. They lose in the second round, first round. You can't do that. You have to take that victory and build on it.
What did they learn, do you think, from being able to defeat Karai and Steffes that time in Washington?
Well, you certainly learned they're beatable, and I think that's the first thing for them. They had never beaten them before.
Oh, what a play by Karai!
What they're learning now is they may not beat them again.
It certainly does not look good for the Brazilians. Just seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time most of the nights.
The Evian Tour started out the last 2 years just here at the Garden. Now it's a 4-tournament tour along the East Coast. And it really is a great tour. And I think that nobody would have thought that Karai, Steffes would come out, lose the first 2 tournaments. I'm sure they've never lost 2 tournaments in a row. So to start out the year, everybody's feeling better. Hey, they're beatable. You know, and it really does help everybody's game, including the Brazilians. But they must play much better than they're playing right now.
They trail 11-5. 2:43 remaining on that rally clock, so plenty of time for them to get back into it.
Well, they serve tough. They have the one ingredient that can get you back in. That's tough serving.
That time, Steffes couldn't run it down.
Tough serve down the middle. 4 or 5 more of those, and they'll be right back in the game.
11-6.
Like 4 or 5 more of those, and they'll be tied in the game.
You're a mathematics wizard, aren't you? Anjinho. 2-time Brazilian beach volleyball champion. 1990 and 91. A sand timeout as the players make some adjustments.
5 seconds.
He's built like a defensive back. I'm sure there's some NFL teams that take a look at his ability and might be interested. That time a side out as he finds a spot on the right side of the net.
Take that sharp little turn away, hits the top of the tape, bounces in. Nice play.
8-foot high net. Steffes digs it. And it'll go over the net. And Anjinho has regained the serve for his teammate Loiola.
Don't see Karsh Karai make setting errors too often.
Well, it just goes to show you he's not perfect. Very close to it, though. Steffes changed the rhythm up a little bit.
He changed the rhythm mainly out of need. The ball was passed on a beeline right at the net. He just jumped up, tapped it in the right spot. Sometimes it helps to be lucky.
Good thinking. Anjinho blasts it through the block. Steffes.
Well, as you can tell, Karai, Steffes serving Anjinho every ball. It's up to him to put it away to side out now. If he can stabilize, they have time. 2:13 left on the clock. It's starting to become a factor, but not quite yet.
Anjinho, nice dig. Puts it back. Finds a spot. Scores a point.
Great dig. He gets up quickly. Loiola with a nice setup. He sees the line, takes it. Good shot. Same one we saw from Karai earlier.
Steffes nearly got to it, but couldn't quite dig it. Steffes with a side out. Again, only able to score 1 point at a time. Haven't been able to really get any kind of a run going.
No, they haven't. They've played well. And the trouble is with Karai, Steffes, again, they don't give you a lot of opportunities for runs. You have to score, you have to block, you have to make the plays. And Gino gave up on that. Looked at it. Luckily, it was wide. Side out. And a good thing for them also, it doesn't take any time. That serves out of bounds, clock stops.
And no effort either. But Loiola hands it right back to him. Well, if there's one thing the Brazilians have done, or that we have seen anyway, they just sometimes try to go for the ultimate shot when they maybe should keep it in play.
Well, I'm not so sure. I think they have to serve tough, Mike. I think it's a good point. It's always a tough one, that decision. Do you go for it every time now? It's getting to a point where they have to start serving tough. They can't just side out or they're going to lose the game. They're only 4 down. That's 2 good serves. If you miss them, it doesn't cost you any time. So go for the big serve.
Let's see if Anginho does. That time Loiola and Anginho escape. They moved within 3 at 11-8.
I think the crowd wants him back in this game. They'd like him to score another point or 2.
Crowd always loves a close match.
Nobody.
Keeping it alive, getting it back, and unable to retrieve it that time. Loiola fired up. His team is within 2 at 11-9. We have a change. We'll be back for the exciting conclusion of this match after these words. From Madison Square Garden in New York, on Prime, it is the Evian Indoor Beach Volleyball Championships. Karch Kiraly, Kent Steffes, defending champions, leading by 11-9 over the Brazilian team of Anginho and Loiola, who have cut down the deficit in the last few points here and have gotten back into it.
Well, they were down 11-6, a couple of good digs, a couple of big hits, and they're right back in it. Important for them to serve tough on this particular point right here.
After the change, let's see how they come out of it.
Strange, they had luck going against Kiraly. They served Steffes. That's a mistake, I think. They had some luck serving Kiraly the last 3 points. Come out of a timeout, they served Steffes. He may have missed the ball, but that's a bad tactical error.
Let's see if it hurts him as Kent Steffes now has the serve.
You have to keep track of who you're scoring points against.
It would seem to be an obvious. Maybe they just wanted to change it up. Keeping that alive, and Kiraly's got to dig it out. Steffes, Loiola, Anginho, and now they have the crowd into it.
Great defense, and they're doing it with defense. Anginho, nice defensive play, cannot be played by Kiraly after a long rally. Good defensive play. Does Loiola like it? Does he want the crowd to like it? You bet.
Yes, he does.
I love that animation. You have to love it.
11-9 now.
Right back to Steffes again there.
And they cannot dig it out.
I mean, it's strange to me because they had success with Kiraly. I mean, the book is you don't go to Kiraly very often, but if you've scored a couple points, go to him until he sides out and then go back to Steffes.
Go back to the well then. All right, Coach Kilgore, let's see if they follow that advice next time around. They've gone 2 separate times in a row now to Steffes and lost.
Problem is you may not have the time to go back to him, and you have a chance. You make the side change, everything going your way. You go back to Steffes, give Kiraly Steffes a chance to get back in a little bit of a rhythm.
1:09 remains on the rally clock.
A lot of time. Time right now is only a factor in that they have a 2-point lead. I think right now they're within 1. That's the big thing. They cannot give up an easy point. That's the Brazilians.
Kiraly tried to one-stop it back, but could not do it. So the Brazilians now regain the serve.
Well, I said Anginho is the one that had to turn it up offensively. He has. Right now, he hasn't given up an easy point. Hasn't been blocked in the last, 3-4 minutes, and that's the difference.
Nobody.
Loiola reached an arm out, and maybe that ball would have gone out.
Well, I don't think it would have gone out, but I still don't know why they didn't go back to Kiraly at least once. Try him once. I mean, they have not stopped Steffes in the last 4 serves.
Obviously, they are not listening to the broadcast.
Well, the trouble is you get a book on teams, you play them, you say this is where we're going to play them, but you have to have the ability to change up if you score some points off somebody.
The crowd here at the Garden is now getting behind the Brazilians, who have rallied from 11-6 down to 11-9.
What I think is going to be another big change, Mike, they'll start having coaches for these players. Most of them do not travel with a coach. They're not doing a lot of stats on the team. The more money involved, all of a sudden there's going to be some coaches, I hope. I wouldn't mind traveling around a little bit doing some coaching.
That is true.
But I think that'll be a change, certainly, that comes with the higher salaries, the more money, you bring in a coach, a trainer. Most of the players now have trainers. They're all into the conditioning side of the game.
These players would not be able to travel to events like this had not the prize money been increased in the last couple of years. It would have been a strictly California sport, now a worldwide sport.
Well, here it is. Brazilians again staying stable. Go to Loiola for a change, and they show you why they don't serve him very often. Big jumper, hard hitter, good hit.
Ball really explodes off his hand.
He pops the sand a bit, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Karai, very sharp angle. To side out again.
35 seconds, Mike. Now the clock starts becoming a factor. They must stay in contact. By contact, I mean within 2 points. Brazilians have to get back within 2 points.
Here's a look at the clock. Right side of your scoreboard.
Only moves when the ball's in play. Takes roughly 7 to 8 seconds of play if the play goes 3 touches.
So besides stopping Steffes and Karai from scoring points, Loiola and his teammate Anginho must score now very quickly.
Well, they do have the serving game to do it. That's the plus side.
Went to Steffes again. He got it back, keeping it alive. That time, the dig was just a little too far.
That's a bad break. They make a nice defensive play, comes over the net. Not only do they not get the side out, it eats up time. So if you watch that time, Karai starting to set the ball higher. Eating up more time, he'll set the ball higher. He is one smart player.
And Loiola now blasting away.
17 seconds remaining. Important here for the Brazilians to score. 17 seconds. They have to get a point on the board.
Their second semifinal.
Loiola in the net. Good call. You can see the net moving. Loiola and Bacil, they wanted some help. They're not going to get it. Easy see. You can see it all the way. Great shot by our crew. His arm was all over the net. Another angle. Up, over. Elbow. Hits it. Well, it's too bad. They've had some bad breaks. You know, they've really been in it. They had a good serve. The ball was close. One goes over. And that's a game.
Our official Marvin Hall making the call, no doubt about it. Anginho gets the serve back.
Watching that clock, it was a roll a bit after I hit the sand that time. Trying to watch the clock, see how honest our clock keeper is.
Now Loiola trying to incite the crowd behind him. And they are behind him.
Good idea. Why not? Needs a big serve here without a doubt. Needs an ace. Steffes is going to talk it over. That's a good sand timeout for Steffes.
And they disrupt the momentum. Now a spectator comes out of the stands to slap some skin with Loiola.
Good play by Karai to call that timeout, though, for 2 reasons. One is they talk about, look, all we have to do is pass the ball up in the air, keep it in play. This game's over. Yeah, they'll set it high. Watch, I guarantee you, if they serve Steffes, Karai will set the ball high in the air to make the clock run down.
Only 7 seconds remain. Big serve. Toward the net to Steffes. The block. It's alive. Way high. And no time remaining. That will be it. And Loiola blasts it up into the stands to finish it off.
The time's going to run out. You might as well just hit it up. Give somebody a souvenir.
And certainly enjoying himself here in New York, despite losing. Jose Loiola, they are the victors. Ken Steffes and Karai. They are moving on to the finals of the Evian Indoor Beach Volleyball Championships. We'll be back with more from Madison Square Garden after these messages.